This anime features one of the wildest plots we've ever covered, and we covered a lot of freaky stuff. And I mean wild at Yahello Academy. The only thing that matters is the money in your pocket and how much of it you're willing to blow on crazy big bets. The school is pretty much ruled by the gamblers, with the student council at the top and the poorest at the bottom, and boy is there a long way to fall. Meet Ryota, whose crippling debt has put him at the bottom of the social heap, making him a house pet, which basically means he's a slave to the rich kids who can do whatever they want with him. So when new student Yumiko Jabami shows up, Ryota feels the need to warn her about this messed up social hierarchy and the school's obsession with gambling. But he doesn't need to worry. Turns out Yumiko is actually kind of an addict herself, with a photographic memory and a serious hard-on for the thrill of the game. Which is just as well, because Mary, one of the school's top gamblers, immediately challenges her to a game on her very first day. The two of them play a version of rock, paper, scissors where the cards are drawn by the crowd and they bet with chips for each turn. Yumiko wins the first round and gets 2 chips, so she decides to up the ante and bet 500,000 yen on the next one. See, I told you these kids are freaking nuts! Only Yumiko's baller moment ends pretty quickly when she ends up losing both rounds and giving Mary 1,000,000 yen. Mary keeps winning, so Yumiko is forced to pull 10 million out of her bag. Just casually, because normal high school students definitely carry around that much cash on the daily. What, you didn't, weirdo? Most of the kids drawing the cards are basically Mary's slaves, so she agrees to play on, knowing the game is rigged in her favor. Except Yumiko somehow figures this out and accuses her of cheating in front of everyone in the room. Mary's just kind of like, lol, okay, and keeps playing since she's basically guaranteed to win anyway. So now there's 10 million yen on the line in a whole room of students sweating bullets over a little game of rock, paper, scissors. But then it gets even crazier. Against all odds, Yumiko wins, completely humiliating Mary and launching her into enough debt to become a house pet slave. Yikes. After the game, Ryota congratulates her on the win and explains that he's 5 million in debt to Mary, and that's why he's her slave. So Miss Moneybags Yumiko gives him a stack of cash to settle his debt, and that was only episode 1. The next day, Mary's fall from power is made pretty obvious when people graffiti her desk, and she's forced to put on her name tag and literally become a slave. I swear this school has frackin' no chill. Meanwhile, Ryota gets to turn up as a free man now that he's no longer in debt to the school council. But trouble quickly finds Yumiko again when she's challenged by another crazy rich girl. Only this one is on the student council, so it's kind of a big deal to be playing against her. The council member, whose name is Itsuki, is also apparently a millionaire because he suggests they play for 20 million yen. I'm pretty positive these kids haven't even had their first class yet, but they're already throwing cards and whipping out more money than I've ever seen in my life. The girls play a really high stakes memory game where they have to make an exact match of cards, and the match is really close. Yumiko loses the first round and begs to play one more time. Itsuki agrees, but on one condition. If she wins, she gets to keep her nails. Yeah, you heard me right. Seems like this crazy first year has a little thing for ripping off people's fingernails and toenails. So she suggests that for the next round, they wager another 20 million and their fingernails. Guys, chill! You might be thinking, this seems like a pretty good time to bow out. But clever little Yumiko has discovered that Itsuki is cheating. Some of the cards have a secret pattern on the back that enables her to memorize a lot easier. It's really hard to spot, but since this girl is a frackin' genius, she manages to use the trick to her advantage. She wins the game in one turn, and Yumiko goes on full frackin' psycho mode, threatening to rip her toenails off and making Itsuki cry. Apparently, one council member wasn't enough, because next Yumiko goes to challenge Yuriko, another one of the school's top dogs. But her and Ryota walk in to find Mary already playing against her, trying to claw her way back out of slavery. Except she loses and ends up in a crippling 49 million yen of debt. Obviously, those stakes don't scare Yumiko because she challenges Yuriko, the council member, frackin' immediately and starts the bet at 40 million. Oh, and guess what? It turns out Yuriko is cheating too, in the most metal way possible. Literally. She's having her club members pierce their hands so that they can magnetize the game pieces and force them into a certain spot. What the frick? The only thing is, it doesn't work every time, and now that Yumiko knows the truth, she's panicking because if she wins the game, Yuriko will be 2 billion in debt. But before they find out who's won, the president of the student council walks in, saying she wants to supervise the game because she can feel some trouble brewing. Which, I mean, it isn't far from the truth, since trouble is basically Yumiko's middle name at this frackin' point. Somehow, by pure luck, Yuriko ends up winning, earning her 300 million yen. That means it's Yumiko's turn to become a slave, because she's now 300 million in debt to the student council. The other girls laugh at her for becoming a house pet, so naturally she gets on the ground and starts acting like a sexy cat. Oh, I see the connection, because she's a pet. And things only get weirder when the student council hand Yumiko and Mary this messed up life plan, which they can make a reality if the girls don't pay their debt. But Yumiko seems totally unbothered. She's not even that scared when a group of boys take her to a back alley and tell her to strip. Yumiko says they're not her type, and then one of the guys pins her up against a wall, and not in the fun way. Ryota tries to run in and help, but he doesn't need to. At just that moment, Midori from the student council turns up and pulls out a gun. That's right, apparently these kids carry around millions of yen and literal Glocks in their school bag. Midori challenges the big guy to a game of Russian roulette and offers him the chance to both shoot her and screw her instead of Yumiko. The guy gets so weirded out that he just sorta leaves. And honestly, I don't blame him, especially since Midori seems like really disappointed that they didn't actually take her up on that offer. The council decide to host a debt settlement party for the pets where they have the chance to swap or have their debt completely erased. With the life plan looming over them, Mary and Yumiko kind of have to go along with it, even though they're both pretty suspicious. And guess who ends up playing with them? The guy who had Yumiko in a chokehold earlier. This fricker, whose name is June, starts out pretty well and wins the first game. But if we know anything about Yumiko, it's that she doesn't go down easy, and neither does Mary, who's willing to do pretty much anything to avoid marrying the sleazy politician the student council have threatened to set her up with. And when they bury the hatchet and work together, the two of them put on one hell of a fight. They even figure out that June is using the other girl in their group to cheat. Yumiko literally almost makes out with the bully's little slave and convinces her to betray him. The two of them beat him, swapping Yumiko's debt with June and earning enough money to free both of them from the debt. June is so pissed. He tries to punch Mary, but then the student council secretary tases him. So I guess we can add tasers to the list of things these kids just have in their backpacks. After they've won, Yumiko thanks Mary for teaming up with her and then casually grabs her boob. Nice. I wish guys had a thing like that. You know, you just grab each other's junk and we're like, yeah, good job, man. Good job. Oh, whoa. You were really happy to win there. Mary frees herself from pet status, but weirdly, Yumiko hasn't paid any of her debt back yet. Ryota and Mary start getting suspicious that she's staying a pet on purpose because pets have the right to challenge student council members to formal matches that they can't refuse. The student council are suspicious too, so they investigate her background and discover that Yumiko is an orphan with a thick bank account, like almost as thick as her, which means she could have paid back her loans this whole time. She's just choosing not to. So the crazy girl Midori arrests her for not paying her debt, because apparently that's just another thing you can do in the school. Oh, and they even have a sketchy basement to keep their prisoners in. So now that she's got her all tied up, what does Midori the freak want to do with Yumiko? Well, she wants to gamble, obviously, but not with money, with bullets. Each of them get to load a gun with as many or as few bullets as they want. Winning the game means they get to pull the trigger, losing means they get to beat the target. Ryota, who is apparently the only normal person in this entire school, tries to get them the hell out of Dodge, but Yumiko accepts because she's clinically insane, I guess. Although she does have some conditions. Yumiko says she'll only do 3 games, and Ryota has to be the dealer. Oh, and she wants a 1 billion yen penalty for the loser. Midori accepts, but adds another condition of her own. For every shot the winner misses, their opponent gets to take one too, because apparently the stakes just aren't high enough already, ladies. Frick me. Meanwhile, Mary and the student council president are having tea with no idea of what's going on in the basement beneath them. The president totally shocks Mary by offering her the chance to sit on the council. Mary absolutely hates her guts, so she refuses, and then the president kind of half flirts with her, half threatens her, saying it's not very smart to refuse the student council president. Back in the basement, Midori seems to really want somebody dead because she put 6 bullets into her gun. I really hope Yumiko puts none in, since she loses the first game and has to sit there while Midori aims at her with her finger on the trigger. But just before Midori is about to literally shoot Yumiko in the face, she warns her that the gun she's picked is hers. And how does Yumiko know? Because she filled the barrel with lipstick and put 3 bullets in the chamber. That means there's a 3 in 6 chance that the gun will misfire and probably kill Midori too. Hardcore, I guess, but also kind of necessary. I'm just wondering how she managed to shove a whole stick of lipstick down the barrel of a gun without anyone noticing. Also, you had that much? She can't seem to decide whether Yumiko turns on her or bores her, so she doesn't fire the gun and moves on to the next round. Then, because she's literally a psychopath, we discover that Midori actually lost her eye by gambling it away in a game against the president. Oh, the student council president. The sane president who was forcing Mary to join the student council that very moment upstairs. Mary says no and makes an enemy of the creepy president, blue lips and all. Which I have to say, doesn't seem like the smartest move when this woman literally owns an entire school of slaves and billionaire rich kids. Back in the basement, Midori loads in 6 bullets and Yumiko wins the chance to shoot her in the head. It's a 50-50 chance the gun will go off, but luckily Yumiko picks the empty gun. Epic! Nobody's head gets blown off. I wasn't mentally ready to see that anyways. What you would think would be a relief, but Midori basically gets really horny over the thrill of almost dying and seems really disappointed that she didn't actually get hurt. At this point, I'm thinking this girl needs professional help, but they've still got one more round left to play, and there's every chance she might catch a cap in the head before then. So, let's just see what happens, okay? For the final round, both girls load 2 bullets in the chamber, and Midori loses, scrambling all over the desk and asking Yumiko to shoot her. But instead of pulling the trigger, Yumiko starts roasting Midori, saying how irritating and boring she is for wanting to die rather than play a good game. I don't know, I don't think that's boring. For some reason, this makes the freak lose her even more, and she bows down on the ground, literally begging her to shoot. So Yumiko walked into a creepy basement, nearly got killed, and now she's walking out with a loyal simp following her every move. I know she's kind of insane as well, but I'm starting to really love this chick. Literally nothing scares her. But Yumiko isn't out of trouble just yet. In the next episode, the council are having a meeting to decide how to deal with her. And they do have to deal with her. Since she joined the school, she's exposed 3 of the school's elite, taken over 200 million yen from the council, and challenged the president's power. Oh, and remember Itsuki, the girl Yumiko beat on like her second day? Yeah, she's done a full 180 and become the 4th member of the Yumiko fan club. There's a rumor going around that Yumiko is trying to become the next president, so Itsuki has decided to buddy up to her in hopes that she'll help get her back on the council. Nice one, Fricker. Super transparent. Although, Yumiko might not even get a chance to be president if the next challenger has anything to say about it. Meet Yumimi, a teen idol with literal stars in her eyes and a plan to knock Yumiko out of the game completely. Yumimi suggests a gamble, obviously, since that's the way they settle everything around here. She bets 50 mils and says if Yumiko loses, she has to become an idol singer and join her career. Which, you know, at least that's better than Midori, who was literally trying to kill her a minute ago. She's being all cute and sweet, but Yumiko cuts her off, saying she knows the truth, that Yumimi hates her hentai fans. Like a lot! So Yumimi drops the kawaii act and admits all she really wants is fame. But sneaky little Yumiko has been recording everything she said about how disgusting her fans are, so now she has some leverage too. If Yumiko loses, she becomes an idol and gives up her life. If Yumimi loses, the recording will be exposed and her whole life and career goes down the frickin' drain. The games they end up playing are all idol related. The first one tests their singing and Yumiko wins because she's good at literally everything. The student council seem to have tried to cheat again, but somehow Yumiko manages to surprise everyone by winning anyway. That forces Yumimi to hand over the 50 mil and gives Yumiko the chance to expose her. Yumimi takes it surprisingly well, actually, admitting to her fans that she really does hate them all herself. You gotta admit, come on, that's kind of respectable. But her crazy hentai fans actually don't care. Of course they don't. They literally just sit there and listen to her calling them all sweaty pigs, but they're so obsessed with her that they promise to keep being fans. Yeah, okay, that's crazy. But not the craziest thing that's happened on this show so far. Yumiko still has some damage to deal. She reveals that she was told the truth about Yumimi by a secret traitor. Yumimi accuses Kaide from the student council, and when he comes down to deny the rumors, Yumiko decides to settle it the only way she knows how. Strip poker. I'm kidding. Well, actually, I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. That's like a missed opportunity. Bro, these kids are like fracking Pokemon trainers, except with giant piles of cash instead of Pokeballs. Kaide accepts mostly because he doesn't have a choice, and the creepy vice president offers to deal. The problem is Yumiko is at a huge disadvantage because there's no limit to how much they can bet, and Kaide is totally loaded, like feckin' Jeff Bezos loaded. Mr. Money knows this, so he comes out with 1 billion yen straight on the table. This gives him even more of an advantage because Yumiko has way less money and therefore way less chips. She plays well at the start, but Kaide spends like lifetimes thinking through every move, using his big brain to second guess every possibility. It seems like our little heroine might have finally found her match when he beats her and takes all her chips. But instead of accepting defeat, Yumiko starts pulling friends out of the crowd to lend her money to keep playing. The newest member of the Yumiko Simp Club comes forward and Kaede tries to convince her not to help. But he basically does that by telling her that she's stupid and that she should really sit down and stay out of their business. Weird tactic. Who would have guessed it? It doesn't work! Yumiko kind of just flirts with Itsuki, which is clearly much more persuasive because her friend caves in and throws 1,000,000,000 yen into the ring on Yumiko's behalf. Just another casual billion from the richest kids in Japan. I think when you hit around like the $5 million money mark, you basically can't even fathom how rich you are. So 1 billion is just like, you're in a whole different universe, dude. Someone fact check me, please. Anyways, now Yumiko's back in the game and up to her usual insanity. She goes all in on the first hand, putting all of Itsuki's money on the table straight away. Itsuki must be seriously sweating by her side, especially when Yumiko asks her to give more and more money onto the table. It doesn't seem like the game is all about the cards at all anymore. Eventually, Itsuki burns through all her cash and Yumiko has to turn to something better than money. Itsuki's life! Yeah, that's right. This mad girl's decided to gamble her friends' life. Itsuki gets freaked out and tries to back up, but then Yumiko shows her hand, and I guess it must have been good enough to convince her to bite all her nails off. Yeah, she just rips them straight off. I think it just freaking, oh my gosh, I need a minute. This girl's literally bleeding on the floor and putting her life on the table, and Yumiko's just sitting there super chill, ready to keep playing. Kaede flat out rejects their offer, but VP accepts it, and as their dealer, it's ultimately up to her to make a decision. Kaede gets furious and tries to pull rank, which is when the dealer takes off her mask and reveals that she's actually been the president this whole time. What? Which is kind of crazy, especially since I'm pretty sure the president and the vice president have definitely been in the same room together before. But at this point, I'm not paying that much attention to the president, with Itsuki's literal life valued at about 10 billion yen, which I'm actually pretty sure that's more than how a human is priced. That's way more. This might have just become the highest stakes poker game in history. Now, Kaede has no option but to gamble his own life to match them. This is reminding me of that one episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, dude. Yo, I need to rewatch that. Anyway, so now the bet is at several billion yen in each other's lives. And just when it looks like she might have finally run out of tricks, Yumiko pulls out a hand with 3 jacks. Once again, my girl coming through just at the last minute. It turns out that the two of them have been acting like this the whole time, trying to fool Kaede into thinking that they were desperate, which is why Itsuki bit off all her nails and started screaming and crying. Wow, talking about commitment. Now that his life is basically forfeit, the council president fires Kaede on the spot, which obviously makes his glasses shatter and his hair go white, because that happens apparently. So with Kaede out of the way, it's finally time for the real battle, the one we've all been waiting for. Yumiko versus Kirari, the queen bitch herself. The other girls want her to cheat, but since she's kind of built a gambling career on exposing cheaters, it'd be kind of hypocritical if Yumiko rigged her own final boss battle. When she arrives, they get straight to business. Another member of the student council, Runa, offers to be the referee, even though she looks like she's about 8. She's also kind of scary, so she does a good job of policing the game. Since both Yumiko and the president are the kind of players to put everything on the line, they decide to gamble with gambling itself. If either one loses, they leave the school. Now, I still think that's better than dying, but there are no winners here. The only option is to not lose, I guess. Wait a minute, I don't like that sentence. And of course, they decide to play using tarot cards because that makes total sense. JoJo! If they pick one that's upright, they get a point. If they pick one reversed, it's a minus. And if the fool appears, then one of them will win on the spot, depending on which way around it turns up. Yumiko picks first and gets 1 point. But they don't get too excited because when the president picks, she earns Yumiko minus 21 points. Wait, how does that work? Which is not great, since there's almost no way she can come back from that unless the next card is the Fool. And who has the task of picking the final card? Ryota, obviously, because he's handled pressure so well in the past. This time, at least, he doesn't have a nervous breakdown, and instead, he admits to Yumiko that he's, like, in love with her. So now his status as a simp is on the line, as well as Yumiko's place at the school. The clever boy that he is, he notices that one of the cards has been marked. The girls think that it's a surefire way to win, but there's no guarantee that it's the Fool or that it's the right way up. He decides not to pick it, and for some reason, that makes Yumiko basically have an orgasm. She starts crawling all over him and begs him to totally pick randomly, and while she's like dribbling all over him. What the frick is happening? The card he ends up picking is Judgment, upright, which brings her total back to a neutral 0. That means the game is a draw and no one has to leave, which is bittersweet. It sucks that the president is staying on, but at least Yumiko gets to stay with Ryota. Although, out of all the gambles they've had so far, I have to say this one seems the most anticlimactic. Oh, and then the president strips naked in front of the moon. Okay, why not? That's the end of Kakagururi. Boom! Frick yeah! If y'all enjoyed this recap, let me know down in the comments which show you want to see me recap next. Could be an anime, could be an abridged series. I mean, I see y'all there. I mean, maybe we can do that. Are we allowed to do that? I don't know. I'll have to consult the legal team, because we totally have that.